Welcome to IC Markets Market Commentary. My name is Tamar Mehr from Trade with Precision, and today I want to do a spotlight on the US dollar and look at potential trading opportunities that utilize the idea of lower time frame entries into a higher time frame trend. And the one that I want to start with is dollar yen. Now, dollar yen has been on a tear going higher and higher and higher. Finally, we've got a pullback. What I've got here is the weekly chart. And what we can see, we have clear series of higher highs and higher lows. Moving averages 10, 20, 50, all fanning, all in the correct order for an uptrend. We have flat to convergence on the MACD and slight divergence here on the RSI. Now, the market has been pulling back into the buy zone, that area between the 10 and the 20 moving averages. And I'm looking for potential continuation of this higher time frame trend, of this uptrend. And I'm looking at the area where we have clustering of technical ingredients that might say around this area, if we get a change of trend on the lower time frame, that could be a potential indication that the higher time frame have finished their pullback and looking for a continuation of the move. So what I've marked here on the weekly chart is this level over here of the swing high on the way up. This is where we found some sellers, we found some resistance pulling back before breaking above it and continuing to a higher high. I've also marked the Fibonacci retracement from the low all the way up to the high, and what we can see is that this level, the swing high, and we also have a couple of touches at that area, is also clustering quite nicely with a 61.8% retracement. Now, if we take a look at the higher time frame for confirmation of the direction, we can see that the monthly chart is also in a very strong uptrend. However, we are still overextended. So there is potential for this market to continue to pull back. That's why I'm looking for signs that the lower time frame are changing direction. Now, switching into the daily, we know that as higher time frame pulling back, lower time frame tend to change direction. And this is really what we've got here on the daily. But what I want to look at is that level that I've marked. So we can see that even on the way up on the daily, we pull back to test that level from above before continuing higher. You can see on the way up, before we touched that level, before we broke it, we had a couple of attempts at that level. So this is a quite nice and significant level on this market. So what I'm looking for is, as I mentioned, is signs on the lower time frame that in and around that area where we have clustering of technical ingredients, I want to see that the lower time frame are changing direction. So looking at the 1 hour or the 4 hour, I want to see a confirmed uptrend. Currently, we're not there. We're still in a very nice downtrend on the lower time frame, but that's the idea of looking into entries on lower time frame for a higher time frame move. The next market that sits quite similarly is pound versus the US. So we'll start again with the weekly chart. And on the weekly chart, we can see very nice and steady downtrend. Clear series of lower highs and lower lows, moving averages 10, 20, 50, all fanning, all in the nice and correct order for a downtrend, and agreement on the MACD and slight divergence here on the RSI. So a similar situation. And in this case, we've been pulling back into the sell zone, the area between the 10 and the 20 moving averages. And I'll be looking for levels and areas for the market to potentially find resistance at. So let's drill down to the lower time frame and take a look at this area and look for the touches at that level. So on the daily chart, we can get some more information of what happened in that area. And what we can see, the line that I've marked around the 1.2330, we had a few attempts trying to push higher, trying to make a higher high high on this pullback, but eventually the sellers pushed the price lower, took over, and moved to a lower low. So I mark this level as well. Now, if we'll come back into the weekly chart and we can draw the Fibonacci retracement just as we did with dollar yen, so from the high of the move to the low, what we can see is that level that had a couple of touches there on the daily chart is clustering very nicely with the 61.8% retracement. So again, similar situation to dollar yens. I'm looking for signs that this market has finished its pullback, so drilling down into the lower time frame. I want to see that sellers are coming back into the market, taking over. We have a downtrend on the lower time frame on the 1 hour, on the 4 hours, and then look for continuation of this move. So currently we're still in the midst of that pullback. The lower time frame still look bullish. I'm looking for some sort of reaction to that level and a change of direction on the lower time frame. Now, a similar market is Aussie dollar. So looking here on the weekly chart, we also have a very nice downtrend, clear series of lower highs and lower lows, moving averages 10, 20, 50, again, fanning and in the correct order. And here we've got nice convergence on the momentum indicator. Aussie dollar as well is pulling back into the sell zone, and I'm looking for areas that the market might find resistance at. So clustering of technical ingredients. So I've got the Fibonacci retracement drawn here on the weekly chart from the high to the low. And let's take a look at the daily to see where we find some sort of a level, an area that the market might react to. So it's not as precise as we've seen with dollar yen, but what we can spot is that this previous swing high before pushing it to a lower low, we've got this clustering in and around that 61.8% retracement. So the level is not precise, and also we are expecting the RBA decision today, so we might see some jittering around this market currently as the market is waiting for the RBA decision. What we can see is just a sideways action, but I'd like to see some sort of a reaction, an established new downtrend on the lower time frame, and then I'll be looking for an entry and a continuation in the direction of the higher time frame. Happy trading, everyone.